Let's go into David's question. He says, since consistency is so important for long-term progress, thank you, David. We say that so much. Everyone wants to know what the secret interval workout is to do, or the secret training plan, or anything else. And it's just consistency. In fact, Niels van der Poel is one of the best speed skaters in the world in the 5K and 10K distances. This year, or just recently, he released he documented all the training that he does on the bike, which, spoiler alert, I think he trains on the bike more than most pro cyclists. It's insane. And he talks a lot about what he does, but if you look at it, the main thing is he is so consistent. And if you look at it just over time, he finds ways to make himself more consistent. It's a common thing that we see across the best athletes. Same thing with Keegan. He just doesn't miss. Like, he's just always out there doing things. And Amber, with the amount of consistency you had with your swimming career and consistency works. So he says, can each of you give some tips on what things you've learned over the years that have helped you maintain consistency? What have you learned that has helped you maintain consistency in the face of illness, fatigue, life stress, lack of ambition, and the opposite, too much ambition? Thanks, from David. Amber, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. I think so. I want to start answering this question by talking about the idea of discipline, because I think that discipline is very much tied in with the idea of consistency. Like, in order to be consistent, you have to be disciplined. And discipline, I think, for most people relates to this idea of willpower. Like, you have to will yourself to be consistent all the time. And if you're really disciplined, it means you have a really strong will. And if you're not consistent, it's because you're not disciplined and you don't have a strong will. And I want to challenge that, because I think instead of feeling like you have to will yourself to be consistent and disciplined, it's more about removing obstacles to consistency. And for me, discipline is much more about finding a reason to want to go out than finding the willpower to force yourself to go out and train. So if you can identify a way of wanting to go out and figure out, and this kind of ties back to what we were just talking about with motivation, what's getting in the way? So how many obstacles to getting out to train can you remove? Can you set up everything the night before? Can you, there's so many ways that you can remove friction to getting out and getting your workouts done. And it's not just about, oh, I don't have enough willpower to do this. It's, hey, you might have a lot of things stacked against you right now. Lots of life stress. Logistics might be really difficult or tricky. There's a lot that goes into being consistent that has nothing to do with willpower at all. So I would challenge you to think about this in terms of what obstacles and friction can you remove, rather than how can I be more disciplined or exert more willpower.
Ivy, you're in Sacramento right now with the Squid Bikes crew. Is that kind of like what Amber's talking about? Like, are you implementing that very thing here?
Yeah, very much so. Having a support circle and people that want to train with me has helped me with consistency so much. And I know for me, having a routine that we all follow together, and sometimes I have to break away from that if training goals don't align with having tag-alongs. But having a routine when I train has helped me a lot, because when I used to kind of like watch the weather and see how the day went, and I would struggle with consistency all the time. Like, I'd push it back and like find some project and never start at the same time, and then my nutrition is weird and messed up, the timing is weird, and I didn't get as much out of the workouts, and it was hard to stay consistent. So now when I start my workouts in the late afternoon, it's not ideal, and I do a lot of my training with lights in the dark sometimes, but I've spent all day structuring my nutrition in a way that really helps me do those workouts in the afternoon better. I feel like I accomplish a lot during the day, so when I'm training, I don't stress out about having to rush back or being late for a meeting or thinking about all the things that I like need to do that day or wish I would have done. Having that routine sets me up to be consistent and not even have to think about it. The structure's there.
Keegan, when I was, so it was a camp for me, but it was just a normal, probably a light week for you. But earlier in December, I came out and I just tried to ride behind you for a week. And it's always impresses me to see how top athletes like the three of you have everything designed around removing friction for training. Like, like you, as soon as you got done, you like did all the maintenance that you needed to do. If it was a little bit of maintenance or more maintenance, whatever it was, like you did that right when you finished your training. So then your bike was just done. You like had kit figured out. You had food figured out. You eat so much. It's ridiculous. And like you do all these things just to make training easier. And like your lifestyle is 100% built around it. Now is that something, are you constantly searching for ways to improve that? Or is that just simply like, it's been habit for so long now that just is what it is?
So I think most of it is just kind of evolved to find the most efficient way to do it. Maybe not the most efficient, but the way I like to do it and the way I think it works the best for me. Because really like my job is to go train. So sure, there's maybe some days where I don't want to go train if the weather's bad or whatever, but like you just go do it because that's what you have to do. And in general, I try and have like the same kind of schedule, like wake up around like 7 or 8, have breakfast, try and ride before 11 normally. I just have like try and get back, have my recovery shake, have lunch, dinner, stretch, sleep. Like kind of like during base season this time of year, I guess all year round, I just do enough volume, but like it's kind of the same. I just kind of get in this groove and I just like having consistency. Like when there's something that like makes me ride in the afternoon, I don't like it. Like I try to avoid that at all costs, unless it's a recovery spin. Sometimes I'll wait till the evening and do my ride in the afternoon. I'll just like do emails, whatever I have to do in the morning, I'll do that. But for proper training rides, everything else gets like set aside. Like that is my job. So I make sure that's the priority. And I find like the nicest part of the day to do that into. If it's going to rain in the morning, maybe I'll push my training off till noon and be like, okay, I have from noon till 5 or whatever it's going to be. I think like you got to be somewhat flexible, right? And adjust it as needed. In general, I think it's just kind of this like system I've evolved, and like it's not super rigid, as you saw, like, Russell and we were talking trash on me being like 15 minutes late. Like
you get roasted constantly for that.
That's just my plan. Like I get ready and I go when I go, and
he's like that meme of Pablo Escobar standing out there and like checking, like looking ponderously out at the weather. That's Keegan. He just steps outside on his porch to see if the weather is ideal, and that's what defines it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it makes a difference, like having all that stuff pretty dialed, like I think as a pro athlete, if you get too much else going on in your life and you're trying to do this and that and your training isn't perfect, then like eventually, like, sure, not every day has to be perfect, but it does add up. And if you miss 1 day a week and you miss 2 days a week, and then maybe you only do 3 hours one day instead of 5, and like that stuff adds up. And I think for me, like I try and focus on being as consistent as possible and doing what my coach tells me to do every day. And then if I have a bad race, it's because I did something wrong, not because I didn't do my training. Like I think I just always do the work, and if something goes wrong, then that's on me. And I know that wasn't my coach's fault, and I wasn't fit enough. Like I think I'm always fit enough to perform at races. It's just a matter of executing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ivy and Keegan have covered 3 key things that I just want to emphasize really quick for people listening, because these are 3 really good ways to remove friction from your training. One is training buddies. Having an accountability buddy is huge. It makes it so much more fun and much more motivating to get out. So if there's somebody who is on a similar training plan to you or wants to ride on the same day as you at the same time, dial that in, because that makes it a ton more fun.
An additional thing too is like, you don't even have to ride together with them, because a lot of us are like, the only time we have to train because of family and job and everything else is super early in the morning. You can do group workouts with TrainerRoad if somebody's doing the same workouts, but even then, just having a person that you like, I mean, Keegan and I are friends, but like we text each other about our workouts all the time. It's like, I got this today. And then afterward, we're like, that was awesome. It's like, it's this little thing of just, you can even just talk to your friends about your workouts instead of doing them with them. You can even just have somebody to share that with. And that really does help. Like it adds another layer of accountability for sure.
Especially when they hype you up. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Good, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So the
Yeah.
social component is huge. The second thing, Keegan talked about getting the workouts done early in the morning. And I think this is really key for a lot of reasons, and not just because of the weather.
Oh.
Oh.
Because I'm an afternoon gal.
Depends on the person, but I will say decision-making fatigue is a real thing. So as you go through your day, you're going to have to make certain decisions. And if you're making the decision to go outside and train later in the day, that gets harder and harder to decide to do. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people, I definitely struggle with this. So if there's something, if I'm trying to build a new habit, for example, I want to try to do that in the morning because it's a lot easier to decide to do that thing while I'm creating that habit. And then that leads me to the third thing, which is the more you can make your training habit, there's so much less friction because you're no longer deciding to do something. It becomes automatic. So like Keegan, handling any mechanical needs that where the bike might need attention immediately after the ride. I'm sure that's not even something that you think about anymore. You make a note in your head during the ride that, chain needs a little bit of lube. I want to adjust my shifting a little bit when I get back. Boom, you do it. You're not even making a decision about it. It's just a habit. So thinking about your training in terms of building really good habits, establishing those habits so they're no longer decisions, that will remove a ton of friction for you.
Mm-hmm. Going along with that, for indoor training in particular, making sure that your bike is set up, making sure that your whatever needs to be charged is charged, like your fans in place. A simple thing, I swear, like it's like $5 on Amazon. You can get a remote like outlet switch for your fan. Like there's little things you can do that just make your training inside so much easier. And it just makes it like an automatic process. Now, like in TrainerRoad, we've made it so that the app just loads and you see your workout and you can just go rather than having to find your workout. Coming soon, we're working on a thing where if you're for some reason on the website looking at your workout instead of in the app, and you'll be able to hit load workout and it'll just open it in the app and you'll just be ready to go. It remembers your devices, so they're always paired, so you don't have to go through that again. Like we've done a lot of different things within the app experience to do that very thing, to remove decisions from it. So, and just make it habit or automate it so it's already taken care of. It's a huge thing. And I feel really fortunate too, because my wife, in my case, she's like a fantastic accountability partner with this too. She'll ask me like, what's your workout tomorrow? And then on top of that, she'll be like, is there anything that I need to do to be able to make it easier? And then I ask the same thing for her. And that's just how so don't be afraid to lean on people. And if you have them there, if you don't have them there, lean on them digitally. I know that may seem like disjointed and a bit strange, but like there's somebody that you can reach out to that cares about you and your training for sure. Even though it's a small thing. So
tag us in your posts about your workouts. We'll hype you up.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to take a moment to talk about the times where everything's taken care of, everything's set. Let's say that we have the perfect routine all set up, but then we are just struggling to get out the door. And I want to talk about a line where we all draw the line between self-care and allowing yourself the leniency to skip the workout. And then at the same time, holding yourself accountable to the goals that you had and just getting yourself out the door to get it done. Keegan, you're like you're I would classify you as like the tough love type. Like that's like what resonates with you. Like just harden up, get out there and do it, get it done. Right.
Yeah.
And Amber, I think that you have done a fantastic job at changing the narrative on our podcast and saying that like, hey, like you don't just have to drive yourself into the ground. You've done a great job on that too, Ivy, because there are some people that tough love themselves into absolute burnout and just like total lack of productivity. Like there's nothing productive going on with the training. They're out there, they're struggling through, they're failing workouts constantly, yet they're continually doing it. So I first want to ask Keegan, where do you draw your line at saying like, no, I do need to skip today? Like, and how do you wrestle with the emotional side of that, of feeling like you failed because you didn't go out and get that scheduled workout done?
Honestly, it doesn't like, I guess that doesn't really happen, to be honest. Like
typical, unbelievable.
I just do it. Sometimes like I don't want to do it, but the fear of like doing that and the consequences that might have me like losing a race or like losing fitness or whatever, I just like I think for me, like I'm a competitor and I like to win. And that's like, I love riding my bike. I enjoy just going and having fun. But I think for me, like winning is like the biggest thing. Like that is why I race bikes. So even if I don't want to do it, I'm going to do it because I know it's going to make me win down the road. And maybe that's not like the healthiest thing or whatever, but it works for me. And I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do this workout. It's raining. I have like 5x5s, which is my least favorite workout. I hate it. I'd rather do anything else. But
Amber's famous for that too. Yeah.
But I'll go do it, like whatever, it's fine. I'll go do it. And yeah, so I guess like as long as everything's going okay and I feel good, like I'll continue. But let's say like after that big 9-day block, Jim, my coach, had put, I think I had 2 or 3 recovery days before having like a 2-hour endurance day, which is also basically a recovery day, right? It's pretty easy. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I was like, man, after one recovery day or after 2 days, I was like, man, I still feel like a little bit tired. Like, so I texted him, like, I'm just going to push this 2-hour endurance day off another day. And we're going to do one more day of recovery. I think I need it. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, so I think you have to know, like, you can push yourself really hard and you can like ride yourself into the ground, which I definitely do. But you also have to know like when to draw the line. And like a 2-hour endurance ride is not going to give you any fitness. Like it's 70 TSS for me. It's like, it's not that big a deal. A recovery ride is like 20 to 30 TSS. It's like you're splitting hairs at that point, but like their extra recovery, like the extra recovery, mental and physically from that recovery ride is actually going to make me faster. So I'm going to push that endurance ride off one more day. Like to me, a 2-hour or 3-hour endurance ride is just like, it's a filler workout, right? It's like, it's just something to keep the TSS up a little while like kind of recovering, but not really training. So I think, and I kind of know that, like, I know like Jim put that in there as like, maybe if he's not feeling good, he'll just swap it or he'll just text me or whatever. So I think if you're going to be like tough on yourself, you also have to be smart and know like where to draw the line and not like pound yourself into the ground, So yeah, it's definitely hard, but I think you get better at it, but it's definitely like rare for me to swap workouts or just not do one. Like if I have like those 5x5s I was just talking about, if I see those on the calendar, I dread them all week. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, but I'll go do it. And maybe I blow up after 3 and then I'll try and do another 2. And, sometimes you got to know too, like sometimes, you have to push through a workout and sometimes you have to know when to pull the pin and go home. Which is it's always hard, right? Like I always text Jim like, hey, like I blew up after one rep today. I think I'm just going to call it. And but if you can't make it through 1, then obviously you're still fatigued and you're tired. So you shouldn't do it. But if you can make it through 3, then you can probably make it through 2 more. So you just keep going. So I think
science.
So I think there's a balance,
I can't imagine what would have to happen to you to be like, all right, I'm going to pull a plug today. Like, it must be really bad.
Yeah.
As Ivy said, built different.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you process for this? Oh,
yeah. Go ahead, Ivy.
If everything's set up right for consistency and everything's ready to go and I have trouble getting out the door, I try to look at why. And if it's just that I'm a little tired, we're a little fatigued, I have a rule, which is that I give myself 25 minutes of riding to see what's going on. And that doesn't mean that I have to start my intervals or anything. I just have to, especially if I'm kitted up and just can't get out the door, I try to just do the first 25 minutes, get my legs moving, and like see if being outside and or being on the trainer and starting makes me those sensations go away. But if it's something like I might be getting sick or not feeling good or might be dealing with an injury, something like that, that's different. I might not start the ride, but that's generally my rule. If I'm just like, I don't know, I'm kind of tired, it's getting late, I'll or just not feeling it, I'll start 25 minutes and see how it goes.
It's amazing how like after that first, like sometimes it takes like, 10 to 20 minutes, somewhere around there, but you feel like a different person, right?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it even takes more than that. Like sometimes it takes like a solid, for me, sometimes it'll take an hour or 2 before like you feel good on the bike. Like in that 9-day block we did, like I felt there's a couple of days I woke up and I just felt horrible. Like it hurt to walk around the house. My legs hurt, everything just ached. then you get out there and you start riding and once you kind of warm up and you get the blood flowing and like, you're fine. You're like, oh, I can do this. We're good. And then you just keep going. And I think sometimes you do need to push through it for a little while, and then it'll get better. But like Ivy said, you have to know, like, if you're getting sick or if like you have an injury in your knees, like actually hurting, just pushing through is just going to make it worse. Like, you're not going to do any, you're just going to do more damage, more harm than good. So I think you have to figure out where to draw that line.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with Ivy. I have the same rule. And I think an important distinction here is that when you are training at a really high level for a really long time, like Ivy, Keegan, me, Jonathan, you get to a point where you are really, really good at knowing when you need to back off. So there are some days where I would just know, like, nope, not training today, or today I just need to ride endurance. I'm not going to do any intervals. And I would know 100% this is the right decision. But then there are those days where I'm not 100% sure. And I'm genuinely not sure if I'm just kind of tired. And like Ivy said, I'll feel better after I get on the bike, or if I really need to dial it back. And I had the same rule as Ivy. I gave myself 20 minutes. That was my rule. Yeah. Same thing. It was like, okay, I'm going to go through the motions, get over that initial friction of getting on the bike, see if I feel better. Cause some days, you ride into it and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I got out today. And other days it's like, nope, this is not happening. And at least then I could take the day off and not feel guilty about it. Like, I wouldn't spend the whole day racking my brain, wondering, should I have trained today? Am I just being lazy? Am I, no, then I gave myself a chance to see. I know for sure rest is the right call today, and I can feel really, really good about that decision. So if you're a person who knows yourself really, really well, then get comfortable making those calls and trusting yourself. And if you don't know yourself really well, and this is something that you're still trying to figure out, that 20-25 minute rule is a really good way to start learning what are the sensations that warrant a day off for sure. And then what are the sensations that are maybe just me needing to get out and have a longer warm up today. But it can help to take notes on this stuff, but really pay attention to that because it's a valuable thing to learn about yourself.
One thing Keegan, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and even being like, I've been a professional for the last 10, 12 years now racing. And I still make mistakes. Like a few weeks ago, actually over a month ago, like I was feeling like a little bit sick and I was like, it's fine. Like, it's not that big a deal. Just like, it's probably just, it is what it's fine. So I went out and had a hard 5-hour endurance day and I started feeling a little off. I was like, man, I don't know, I feel a little off. And then halfway through, I started to feel like this is really, really hard. Like trying to do 250 watts felt like full gas. And I was like, man, I probably shouldn't have even came out today. And afterward, I was like, and then I got really sick afterward. And I just was like, I shouldn't have. If I had not trained that ride, then maybe everything would have been better. But so I think it's hard to differentiate sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to find that balance of when you should go out and when you shouldn't. And maybe you should just do an easy spin instead of a hard ride. But once you're committed to it, you're I'll ride through it, give a couple hours, I'll warm up, so it's you still make mistakes, it happens, I try and get better about it, but it's just not everyone, no one's perfect. So sometimes you have to make those mistakes in order to learn, even if you make them every year, eventually you'll learn.
And because of lifestyle changes and because of training changes and everything else, you'll also have new baselines that you'll have to calibrate to. Like right now, doing triathlon training, I've been complaining about this to Keegan. We're turns out triathlon training is really hard. When you swim and you run, it makes bike hard. So that's been so that's been something that's new to adjust to. It's oh, okay. So I should just feel right now, I'm getting used to this different level of fatigue. It's not necessarily more, not necessarily less. It's just different. And I feel different coming into workouts. Right. So, and if you change your training volume or change the focus of your training, you're doing a different type of work or get a new job, or you have something else change outside of just the cycling training portion of your life, you have to kind of normalize to that. So you have to kind of feel things out for a while and then regain your confidence in your ability to be able to assess those situations. So it's all part of it. The one thing I do want to hammer home that's so important, especially for all of us, is I am a firm believer in the earlier you can get your training in the day, the less obstacles will stand in your way to getting it done. I'm seeing it in the live chat right now. People are saying this too, that I plan my training for the afternoon. And then by that time, I have a kid that's sick or I had to go and do this errand, or my work, threw a huge like fire drill at me and I had to totally change everything that I had planned. And there goes your training. And when that happens time after time after time, it can be really frustrating and demotivating. And you can't like will your way through that, because it's like, well, no, I literally have to work for 6 more hours right now and I can't do it. Or I have to take care of a sick child, whatever the situation might be. All of us probably face those where we simply can't overcome them. So it's one of those times where you have to stop and think like, okay, so is the problem everything else, or is the problem that I'm trying to pose an unrealistic expectation of being able to have a very consistent life to work around my training? And that's probably where it lies. So instead you just have to think, okay, so where can I position my training in a spot where it is less prone to influence or be influenced by all these variables, right? So training in the morning is really hard, but it does beat not training, right? So as long as it's, something that's sustainable for you.
If you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up.
If you didn't like this video, you can give it a thumbs down, but let us know what you would have done differently in the comments below.
If you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to become a faster cyclist, check out TrainerRoad.com.
Do it.